Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, last year, I have certainly memories, and I've shared these with you, but I want to tell you about them again because they're things that stand out to me as I think back. And it's not about the size of fish that I've caught. That's never seems to be the big thing that stands out to me. One of them was days that I had in the Grass River. And I remember telling you I had days where I would go out and I would catch 100 bass. Most of them were small, but that's a lot of fish. And what it became for me is every cast became the same thing. I'd cast out, I'd move the bait a bit, blam, I'd feel the strike, I'd bring the fish in, I'd release it, make sure my lure was on right, cast out again, and the same thing happened over and over and over again until I'm thinking, okay, so what's next? And I think that can become the case. I think back to all the years fishing on the reservation with my friend Will, and there the bass season never ends. You can't keep them. You got to release them. It's just catch and release. But during that time when thousands of bass move into the spawning areas, it becomes unbelievable smallmouth fishing. But what it also becomes is everybody speaks of numbers. You can go out and you can have days where over 100 smallmouth are caught, and they're all big, or at least most of them are. But it's almost like you hit a point of diminishing returns when you catch so many. Now, for some people, that's all that matters. We caught 100 smallmouth bass, trip of a lifetime, and I understand. But for me, the challenge, the reward changes. And so what I'm really talking about is the great joy of fishing for me is discovery, of solving a problem, seeing a pool, trying to figure out in what direction to cast, where those fish might be, casting, maybe being successful, maybe not. But it sort of intensifies the anticipation. And sometimes when you get in conditions where there's so many fish and you just catch one on every cast, the experience becomes rote. It becomes the same. So I know for somebody to come on the radio and complain about catching too many fish, that's crazy. But I just want you to realize that the experience of fishing is so much more dimensional in my mind than just the number of fish you catch or just bringing that fish in. For me, it's always been the anticipation and having the strike. Or in cases that I've talked about before, seeing the wake of the fish that is approaching your bait. I mean, that builds up such excitement. Your heart starts beating faster. And then once they strike and they're on, then it's almost like a downward battle. It's almost like you hit the crescendo, and now it's that's for me, that's what it's like. It's going to be different for everybody. But I think that as we view fishing, I think it's such a grandiose sport that is more than what people that haven't experienced it might realize. It's not just the fish on the end of the line. It's all the factors that go into the discovery, the sounds, the feeling. And I've talked about this so much, but the other day when I went out for 2 hours and got one strike and had a wonderful time, it all came back. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.